That's amazing. Let me get a picture.
Repeat that 4 times, stand on the right and hold on to the handrail.
Bill Shakespeare period. All structural timber, that is. across the Arlington and then back down, and we meet up at the restaurant.
Pasty, sausage roll, cake. What?
I'm just going in.
Actually, what do you want?